Welcome to the Operation Amigos podcast. We're excited to be here for another episode. I don't even know what number this is. We're not numbering them anymore. I think we decided, right? So whatever number it is, we're excited to be here with another awesome episode and with another special guest. Today we have Williamson Sintyl, who has an amazing story. Williamson, thank you so much for being here with us.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you here, Williamson. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to read your bio here so people know who you are. And this is kind of just a compilation of things I found about you. There is so much, and I'm excited to jump into talking to you about it. As a survivor from the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, Williamson takes advantage of every moment, experience, and opportunity he is given in life. He moved to the U.S. to study in 2015 and met the love of his life. He has shared his experience in many schools and functions all over the United States and Haiti. His passion is to empower youth all over the world to believe in themselves. Through lots of hard work, he now owns his own small business and is also the founder of a nonprofit organization that empowers youth in Haiti, and it's called Arise Project for Humanity. He continues to take trips back to his home country with his organization. In 2020, he was one of the winners of the Mars Shot Challenge, which had hundreds of thousands of entries, and you were one of 3, is that correct?
Yes, I was one of them.
He is also a husband and father and lives with his family in Utah. So, Williamson, there's some of those things we're going to talk about, and we're super excited to jump into it. I actually wasn't going to bring up what it was that you had survived through at the very beginning, but it's just, I feel like we have to start with that. We're not going to start with that. We're going to go back a little bit, but I feel like that was really a turning point in your life. So, but I kind of want to start before that.
Yeah, Williamson, can we set the stage a little bit? What
Yes.
you've done since that time has been great, but I think that it's important for us to understand what you were like before 2010 and know what some of your hopes and dreams were, what you expected your future would be like before that earthquake happened. What was that for you?
Well, I want to start with my parents. You know, my parents were the backbones of what I wanted to become in my life. I remember my dad came from a poor family from the north part of Haiti, and he grew up in a space where he was the only one that his parents could afford school for. He was the only one that can go to school because they didn't have enough money to send his siblings to school. So I remember my dad was the one that has to walk for 4 hours every single morning to make it to school.
Wow.
And yeah, he had to walk every single morning to make it to school. And because of my dad's hard work in his school, the founder of the school was able to ask my dad, or was able to allow his siblings to come to school for free. And my dad was able to graduate from that high school and came to Port-au-Prince, moved in Port-au-Prince to study in college. So while my dad was in college in Port-au-Prince, there was a huge organization who came to Haiti. They were looking for the best students so they can help them with their dreams. And my dad was one of the top 5 people they were able to select. And since then, they helped my dad to go back to his hometown and build his first public school for the people of his hometown. And then my dad's journey was the one that inspired me throughout my childhood to really understand the beauty of school, of educations, because I had to go to school. Education was the door for me to make it in life. So I had to work harder. I had to learn harder in school. So it was all on educations growing up.
Wow.
Because I learned that was the only way for me to make it in life was education, was school. And I had to work harder in school. I had to, not only that, but stay on the right path, do exactly what I should be doing in order for me to succeed in life. Yeah.
Williamson, when you say that your father was growing up poor, I've been down to some countries in South America and in Central America, and the standard of living is different, I would say, than from what most people in the United States are accustomed to. Um, when you're saying that, are you saying that he was poor compared to typical standards in Haiti, or poor compared to what most people in America experience?
So yeah, I mean like typically in Haiti, because like right now while I'm talking with you, there are two kind of people that are really poor in Haiti. There are people who's living under two US dollars a day. There are
Wow.
people who's living under $0.5, like 0 cents.
Oh my goodness.
Not even $1 a day. I'm telling you, from Haiti, I'm pretty sure at that time my dad was 0.3, 0.5 cents, like 50 cents
Oh my goodness.
a day. Like
Wow.
my dad was really poor, and his parents, they never went to school. And for my dad to be able to come from nothing, came to Port-au-Prince, went to college, um, did part of his school in the US, and he was able to now have one of the best job in Haiti, and he was able to provide all of this education, all of this all of that for us. I mean, my mom was part of that too, but my mom came from a middle class family. Like she wasn't the type of she wasn't the type of people where my dad came from. They came from a different family, different background, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful for my parents because they taught me the value of education. So how important it is for me growing up.
Wow. That sounds very familiar to me because my dad's from Mexico. I think we've talked about this, that my own dad, his mom was a teacher and they were very poor as well, but she always made it a point to tell him, school will be your ticket. You need to go to school. There were times when his friends would be quitting to work because they needed to work to support their families, and she wouldn't let him quit because she said school is the way that you're going to make something of yourself. So that is something I heard a lot from my dad too. So will you tell us about the day of the earthquake? Tell us about what led you to be where you were. It's kind of a miraculous story. And so, yeah, will you just kind of take us through that day and how it happened that you came to be in the building that you were in?
Well, I can clearly remember I was in high school. I was in school. I was 16 at that time, and I remember that day. It was a Tuesday, January 12, 2010, and my mom, she was at work working. So usually in private school in Haiti, I grew up going to the private school in Haiti. That's exactly what my parents, they were able to provide for, and they were fortunate enough to send me to private school. So in private school, you have to stay to do your homework right after school. You don't just go home. You have to stay to do your homework for the next day. That means tomorrow you don't have to worry about homework. You already done your homework today, this afternoon. And that day, my mom didn't think that I needed to stay to school, and she came pick me up. She felt that she had to come pick me up. And then she left work. She came to my school and she picked me up. I remember I didn't ask her why she came pick me up. I just jumped in the car and she dropped me off to my dad's orphanage, because at that time my parents, they own a few orphanages in Haiti. And that's what I was doing in order for me to make some money, working with my dad in his orphanage, help the kids with their homeworks. And I remember while I was in that orphanage, I was in the bottom floor of three-story of building with 12 other kids. There was this little boy. He was standing next to me while the other 11 kids was in front of me. They were in front of me. We were talking. And I I I heard the building shaking, and I didn't know what was going on because at that time I was 16. I didn't know much about earthquake. I thought that was just something's going on outside.
Yeah.
And a few seconds, like few 5 seconds later, the earthquake happened and the building collapsed.
Oh my goodness.
on top of all of us. And I remember I heard people outside, the kids screaming, and I was so scared because I didn't know what was going on. And I remember the kids were crying, yelling, and that happened around 5:30, and that's when I didn't know I was gonna make it. And we spent the entire night under that building. And the next day, I heard my dad's voice. He was looking for me because he knew I was there. And my mom, I didn't hear my mom because I've heard that my mom just left because she lost her mind. She thought I wasn't gonna make it,
Wow.
and she lost her mind that night. And I heard my dad's voice. He came to look for us. He came with a bunch of friends. The toughest thing for my dad was he wasn't able to hear me or know where I was because they were on top of me. There was no tractor, no equipment to get me out if they wanted to. And I was under that building. I was so tired I couldn't use my voice to even tell them that I was there.
Wow.
And that happened the next day. And at the end of that day, in the evening of the next day, I remember the little boy was underneath me that was standing next to me before the earthquake happened. He kept asking me, "Are we gonna make it? Are we gonna make it?" And I tell him, "Yes, we are going to make it." I had that strong feeling that yes, we are going to make it. And I didn't know that we were gonna make it, but I heard that. I had that feeling that we were gonna make it. And I heard the other 11 kids stop screaming one by one because they were slowly dying.
Oh my goodness.
And that's when I decided to say a prayer for the first time of my life. I didn't know much about God because I grew up Catholic, but my relationship with God wasn't that strong. And for the first time of my life, I felt that I needed to say a prayer because there was nothing else I could do, and that was the only thing I felt that I needed to do. And I remember I said to God, if you save me, I'm going to serve you. And that was the only thing I remember I said, and I asked God, if you save me, I'm going to serve you.
Wow.
Williamson, when you're there and you're under the building, have there been other people on the second and third floors as well? So were there other people who, other than you 15, who were on that main level?
No, all the kids were on the bottom floor of 3-story building. So it's an orphanage, you know. They sleep on the third floor. The second floor, that's where they eat, and that's where they eat. That's where they do some creation, and then the first floor, the bottom floor, the first floor, that's the administration, and the bottom floor, that's where we do homework. That's where we get to relax, to spend time together.
So everything that has collapsed above you is building and rubble, and what was it like? So were you? Did you guys have a little bit of space to move around? Were you
pinned under
yeah,
something?
were you pinned, stuck, hurt, or was it one of those situations where everything around you had collapsed and there was just no way for you to get out?
I felt the heavy things, like I could feel like the world was on top of me.
Wow.
And right after that prayer, that's when I felt that the world was on top of me, and I was so, like, my arm was like smashing because it was under a bunch of blocks. And I started crying, and then it was so smashing, so at the end it became so numb I couldn't feel it anymore. And
did any of those did any of those children survive?
I heard them stop screaming one by one.
And they all died.
Yes.
Wow.
And right after I said that prayer, I felt someone on top of me. I didn't feel any heavy things anymore after that prayer. I felt an angel. Someone was on top of me. And that's when I had enough strength, because before that, I couldn't even speak because I was facing the floor, and it's like every single thing that was inside of me came out and stuck on my face and throwing up everything. And then right after the prayer, I felt someone was on top of me. That's when I had the strength to call out loud. And I remember I called out, and I told them where I was. Like, I'm here, guys. Can you hear me? Can you see me? And I say, my dad, I'm here. And they couldn't even hear me because I was on the bottom floor and they were on top of me. And I was yelling with all the energy of my heart. That's when they began to hear me. And I keep yelling. And they were able to really locate it where I was, because I told them where I was. And they tried to dig from outside of the building, from the ground, to come get me. And they couldn't get me because my arm was stuck, smashing under the rubble. And the guy who came to get me, he was stuck. That means they had to spend another couple hours to get him out instead of focusing on me. And I was about to give up because he was stuck. He was the one coming to get me out. And they left me now. They are focusing on him. And I remember that moment. I was so thirsty, tired, hungry. And again, they send him back again. They get him out and they send him back again to tie a rope on my neck to get me out. But they couldn't get me out. Even they tied a rope on my neck because my right arm was stuck. And they had to go digging another way, another part of the house to remove everything on top of my arm. Because, guys, like 90% of people that was under the building during the earthquake miss a part of their body. They become handicapped. I know, like, tons of my friends, they have to cut your arm or your leg. That's the best way for them to get you out. And there was no anesthesia. They have to do it in front of you. I had two of my close friends. His name is Augustin and Michel. They lost their leg. They lost their legs because they said they handed me that. I don't want to use the word. They handed it to me so I can cut my leg by myself so I can get out.
Oh my goodness.
So they weren't able to do that to me. They just went and removed every single block, rocks, rubble on top of my arm to get me out. And right after they rescued me, and the little boy that was underneath me, I find out that when my mom came pick me up from my high school, my 25 classmate died during that earthquake.
Wow. You would have been one of them if she hadn't picked you up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Williamson, the survival aspect of this story is impactful on a lot of different levels, because most people will never know what that feeling is like, to experience an earthquake around them, the loss of friends and family, and then the personal experience that you went through. But after that all happened, and after you are able to emerge from that time being trapped in there, how did that change your perspective on life? I mean, was it immediate that you adjusted some of your goals and knew some of the things you wanted to do? Or did that take some time to settle on you of what you wanted your life to look like from that point moving forward?
That's a great question, because I remember right after the earthquake, I keep thinking about the promise I made with God while I was under that building. If you save me, I am going to serve you. So right after the earthquake, we didn't have any water, any food, nothing to survive. But for me, I felt that was the beginning of something greater, much better for my life. I felt that. I felt that was the beginning of something greater for my life. And that's when I decided to not only look for ways to serve God, but discover why I'm here. At such a young age, I was looking for answer. I was on a journey to find the reason why I survived this earthquake.
How old were you at that point?
I was 16.
16. Wow.
And so did you know when you're having that conversation with yourself of wanting to discover why you're here, how did that lead you to the United States? What was that process like?
Well, I didn't come to the United States until I was let's say 18, because my family, we used to come visit United States before with my dad. You know, as I told you before, my dad won this big thing and changes class to middle class,
Right.
and study outside of Haiti, and he had a lot of connection with the largest nonprofit organization, so he was able to travel with us to New York, to Miami, and but until I decided to really connect with other people. I remember I was living in a tent because my parents' house was destroyed during the earthquake, and while I was living in a tent, that's when I found this wonderful friend who stopped by and introduced himself to me, and we get to know each other. He invited me to his congregation, and I went, and we started to meet with missionaries, learn about God and the Bible, and he introduced me to his church, and I ended up becoming a member of his church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I joined the church, and then later on I served a full-time mission for the church. And those are ways that the Lord keep using me to serve him by keeping this promise. And I served my mission in Haiti for 2 years in 2013, 2015.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was able to serve God. But I remember throughout my time serving the Lord in Haiti, it was so refreshing to me that I was born to do something. Like my mission opened my eyes on, hey, there are greater things ahead of me right after that mission. And I get to really understand the promise I make and how the Lord was using me to keep that promise or to fulfill that promise. So, and
That's
then
incredible.
yeah,
I think
after
that
my
sometimes, sorry, I keep interrupting. Sometimes we make promises when we're on the verge of something bad happening, and a lot of times we might forget those promises that we make in those desperate moments. But you didn't forget your promise. You kept your promise, and you continue to keep your promise, which is wonderful.
yeah, so not only that, you know, sometimes when the Lord wanted to use you, he will do whatever he wants, whatever he can to use you, you know?
Yeah.
And I truly believe that he wants to use all of us. He wants to use wherever we are right now, whatever we're doing, the Lord wants to use us. He wants to use you. He wants to use me. And I feel like he saved me for a reason, because today I'm not only have my dream on my shoulder, I have 25 and more dreams on my shoulders, my classmate dreams, because
Wow.
I don't know why I was the only one. Only God knows, but I truly believe that I'm carrying the dreams of my classmates right now on my shoulders.
Right. That's a very humbling way to look at it, when you look at the fact that you were the only one that lived. And turning a little bit to your experience here, you have these dreams and you have this responsibility to serve God, this promise that you made. When you got to the US, what was life like when you got here? Were you able to go full speed forward right from the beginning, or were there certain challenges that you had to overcome? What was that like when you first made it here to the US?
Honestly, if I say it was easy, that would be the biggest lie. You know,
Yeah.
but you know, I choose to take my story as a survivor and create something out of my life. So when I came here, no matter what was gonna happen to my life, I knew that I was ready for it, to conquer it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy. When I came here, I didn't know any English, no money to survive, no place to stay. I live at a friend house for a few months, and my church leader invited me once to come live with them. And that's when I take my school very serious, because I came here for school, and I was working on my English. There was a test named TOEFL test, called TOEFL test. I had to take that test in order for me to go to college. And I remember I was doing everything harder and harder. I had to speak harder. I had to work harder. I had to connect with God harder, because I didn't have any family when I came to Utah. And I remember I was relying on my mom to keep sending me 160 US dollars every time I thought I was ready for the test. And every time I take the test, I failed that English test after paying, yeah, after paying $160. And after failing 5 times, I decided to move back to Haiti,
Oh, wow.
because there was no way I was gonna stay here illegal. I want to stay legal.
Right.
And I decided to go and move to Haiti. And while I was in Haiti, I didn't give up. I kept studying English like no one else. And I remember I knew I was ready for that English test. And I went in a place in Haiti and I took that test, and I was able to come here and go to college. And yeah, that's when I knew that the English was my barrier. And if I can take that test, I will be able to make something out of my life. We all have some barrier in our life, you know. Some of them we don't want to face them. Some of them we feel like if we face them, our life might be end. But I was willing to do what it takes to take that English test, because I knew there's something here in this land that I needed, that can carry me wherever I want in my life, or where God wanted me to be.
Williamson, when I hear you say that you took that test 5 times and then went back home, and I know the context is that your family is at this point in the middle class and not where your dad started, but to go from where your dad was, living on 30 cents or 50 cents a day, to a place where, you know, that's $800, so, you know, nearly $1,000 have been invested by your parents into you taking that test. I can only imagine the pressure you were putting on yourself to not fail at that point. Was that, do you feel like the pressure was greater because you were carrying the dreams of your friends who had passed away, or do you feel like it was helpful for you to have them in mind and to have that promise that you made to God in mind as you continued to study and take that test over and over?
I feel like I wasn't alone. I never felt a moment of my life coming here that I was alone. I always felt that I surrounded, you know, and I was frustrated. Of course, I was mad at myself, at God, at everything around me, because I keep failing this test, and universe, God, like myself, know that I needed that test, you know, but I understand that things do really happen for a reason. And I had to know the value of failing that test, to understand that value of failing that test, in order for me to really create opportunity while I'm here. Because if I didn't fail that test, I could have never been able to be where I am today, or to know that the beauty of keep going, or consistency. Because even if I failed that test 20 times, I was still going to take it 21st time.
Wow. That's a great perspective, I think, of recognizing the value of failure. And I think that so many other people may have just given up at that point and thought, well, it didn't work out. But, you know, I think that that's such a valuable perspective that now you're bringing to those that you mentor, which is such a wonderful thing. I love that you now mentor other youth here in the U.S. as well as in Haiti. You were able to found an organization called Arise Project for Humanity. Can Can you tell us a little bit about how that organization was born? How did that come to be? And what was it like at the very beginning? How did you build that from nothing?
Yeah, I've always wanted to help my country, to help Haiti, because I growing up have seen my parents, they own a few orphanages, they're serving the people, feeding the kids in the street, try to really make a difference. But I've never seen like something concrete happen. And I realized that I needed to do something. And the more I kept thinking about why I survived this earthquake, and the more I began to understand that my life has a purpose, and one of it is to help my people. Because I rise from the rubble, but today we have millions of Haitians that are still buried under the rubble. Rubble of self-doubt, sex trafficking, exploitations, abuse, like all kind of rubble you can think of. Their circumstances, their current situation, poverty, hungry, like those are rubble. Corruption, lack of leaderships, those are rubble. And I've always wanted to do something. And what I realized is throughout my life in Utah, I had such great mentors around me. People that helped me discover my power, potential, gifts, and talents I've been given by God. And I was able to implement those into actions to create something out of my life. I made sacrifices to even spend 1 year without eating lunch so I can save enough money to start my first tree company.
Wow.
And sacrifices to go to school and not worry about what's gonna happen if I don't have. I remember I had to bike every single day in the snow from 39 South to University of Utah to go to the institute in the snow.
Oh my goodness.
Use my bike because I didn't have money for bus. I didn't have money for train. And someone gave me a bike one day and I thought, wow, you give me like a treasure. Where did you find that treasure? And they said, I've seen you walking every day to go to the institute, to go to the temple. We want to give you that bike. And all of these just come together to show me that, hey, you're the only Haitian here right now. I know there are tons of other Haitians, but I'm talking about in that moment.
Right.
That might be the only Haitian right now who's riding a bike in the snow. So I learned so many great things here in Utah that I wanted to share to my people. And that was the only way I think I can help this country. And that's when I started this organization called Arise. Arise. It's just an invitation to invite my people to rise up, to arise. Arise from your circumstances. Arise from doubts. Arise from your beliefs. And when I started these organizations, I really didn't know exactly where I wanted to go, but I did know that I wanted to teach Haitians that they can become a victor, not a victim. They can be the maker of their own destiny. They can create something out of their life. But most importantly, to teach them that they've been given gifts and talents from God that they haven't been using, and they needed to use that right now.
Do you have any specific things that you're hoping come out of that after you teach them that? Or are there things that you're saying, I'm teaching you this so that you can blank in your life? Or do you just trust that they will do good from that point?
No, like right now, we are teaching them basic principles, like principles that will really help them get out of poverty. Because I do believe that poverty first came from your mindset. It's a mindset thing first. It's not that you don't have money, because I didn't have money, but I knew that I had greatness upon me. And I didn't have money, but I knew that I was worthy of all the great blessing that the Lord has in store for each one of us. And some of the principles we are teaching the Haitians right now are keys that will help them change their mindset, to believe in themselves, to know that instead of waiting for the country to help them, they can create something for their life. And to teach them that they can be the difference. They to help them be the next president, create wonderful, worthy, honest leaders in Haiti. So those are the principles like believe in yourself, the power of vision boards, honesty, taking responsibilities, affirmations. Those are the principles we are teaching right now in the mentoring program. And today we have over 310 mentors across Haiti.
Oh, wow.
Those are young Haitian leaders that are empowering young people from their communities.
That's incredible. And this has gotten bigger than you probably even imagined. What, 6 years ago was it 6 years ago that you started the organization?
Yeah. Yes.
And just last year, you were one of the winners of the, what is it called? The Mars
Shot by Kevin
Shot.
Hart.
Will you tell us a little bit about that and some of the key people who were involved in this competition that you get to work with now?
Working with Kevin Hart with UAE and Dubai, working with Jay Shady. He has a new book called Think Like a Monk, and working with Venice Brown, Justin Timberlake manager, and so many other people, wonderful people that the Lord has put in my path.
Wow.
And I was part of that. One morning, I was watching Instagram. By the way, on my Instagram, I only follow people that can empower me, really empower me. Mm-hmm. And not people that will post something, but people that I can see that they're living what they say. And I might have if 5 people follow me, if 500 people follow me, I can follow maybe 5 people or 3 people, just an example.
Yeah.
And it's really not about the numbers, it's about the quality of what I want to learn on that. And I follow Kevin Hart, even though he doesn't have a clean language, but he's he's powerful. He values families, he loves his family. And I think, wow, I should follow a guy who values families. That's my number one thing too. Yeah. And one day he posted a video how him and the people in Dubai, they wanted to make people's dream come true. They're looking for 3 finalists. And he invited people all across the world to make a 1-minute video to share their dream and why they need to support them. And that moment, I just go upstairs, I wash my face, I put a new shirt, and I put my Arise hat, and I make a 1-minute video. And in that video, I tell them my dream is to build the first mentoring center in the Caribbean. A place that will create change makers, a place where young people will never live the way they came. And I tell them, I am the guy you're looking for, Kevin Hart, and I'm going to be the Mars Shot this year. And I finished that video, I sent it. And a few months later, they tagged me. I was part of the 15 finalists. They invited people to vote for me. Over 2.3 million people voted for me, and I was part of the 5 finalists. We had a few interviews, and I became part of the 3 finalists to be able to help make dream come true. Still now, we're working with them to finalize everything. But, it's never that they wanted my dream to come true. It's the fact that they were able to take my dream and introduce my dream to the world. Because now, every single Haitians in the diaspora who lives outside of Haiti and those in Haiti, they're aware of what I'm doing. Through Mars Shot, I feel like no matter what happened with Mars Shot, even if they help me build this mentoring center or not, somebody else will help me build this mentoring center.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, Williamson, I'm giddy for you, ma'am, because I hear you talk about, nearly being pulled out of earthquake rubble by your neck, nearly losing an arm, taking a test you say you could have failed 20 times and you would have taken it at a 21st. And in this moment, you watch one video and you immediately, that's what I got to do. And then you go and do it. And if that hadn't worked, I immediately thought to myself, I didn't know that it worked, on that first time. But you could have said I did it, 3 years in a row, and I wouldn't have been surprised because that's the kind of energy that you bring. No hesitation, just
do it.
This is what I feel like that is what I need to do. I'm going to go do it. And so frequently we see in the world today people who see an opportunity, but they want to wait a little. I need to plan a little bit. I'm gonna wait just a few minutes. I'm gonna think about this a little bit longer. Is that just something that comes naturally to you? Is that something that you had to learn to embrace, to just jump in and take that chance immediately?
Well, I always believe if something come on my way, it's my call. You know, if something come on my way, if I see something on my way, it's my call. And because there are opportunities all over us. That's one thing I was able to do when I came to Utah. When I came to Utah, I saw so many opportunities. I knew I had to do something with them. I knew I had to help my country. Because guys, I want people to understand how blessed we are for being here, to live in a country where,
Yes.
guys, we don't have to work. We work hard. I know that we work to maybe purchase a bigger house. We work to pay taxes, to save money, travel with family, like fix your house, like take your kids somewhere. But Haitians are working to survive.
Just to
They're not
survive,
even,
yeah.
they're not even working to just add a new furniture on the house. They're just working to survive.
eat. Yeah.
Like they're not even working to just go to DI and buy shoes for $5. They're working to survive. Like when I came here, guys, I'm so blessed. And by the way, guys, I didn't mention that. I want everyone to know that I will never be where I am today without my beautiful wife.
Oh, yeah.
She's the love. She's the love of my life and the life of my love. And without my wife, I could never be where I am today. She was the one when I felt like I didn't deserve something. She said, "Honey, you deserve it and you can do it." Because life hasn't been easy, you know, and throughout things, toughest time, even this year, last year, like toughest year of my life. And like she's the bridge, the backbones, the reason, the why, the friend, the mentor, the counselor. Like I'm not saying that to just say that. Like she is like the one who helped me to be where I am today. And without her, my life would be horrible.
That's incredible. I was going to ask you to tell us a little bit about her and the role that she plays. And I was just seeing on your website that she is a part of your organization. She works along with you, which I think is wonderful. I think it's so wonderful that she is there with you, side by side with you, working to help you reach these goals and these dreams. And that's so valuable as you show your 3 children, right? You have 3 children now?
Yes.
That's such a wonderful example for them to show them, you know. And what would you say is the one thing that you would want to teach your 3 children from all of this?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I will tell them to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, because it's general. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can be a good husband. Believe that you are a good husband. Believe that who you are is accepted to God, and believe that you can make a difference. Believe that you're a success magnet. Believe that you're created to do great things. Believe that you can do great things with what you have and where you are. And yeah, I just want my kids to believe in themselves, because they are going to face tons of things in life.
Oh, yes.
But I know that I don't have to worry about that, because they will believe that they know who they are, and nothing will stop them from accomplishing things they were created to do.
Williamson, there's so many people that talk about believing in themselves and then sit in front of a TV or a video game console or on a phone. And how do you think you can help? I mean, your example for sure, but is there anything that you will teach them that that you will go out of your way to teach them, to say it's not just about believing yourself, but here's how you put in the work to then become that thing that you believe you can become?
Yeah, there is something I live by. I live by my affirmations, and like my kids, before we put them to bed, we brush their teeth and have them look themselves in the mirror and keep telling themselves who they are, because there are things you tell yourself. It's like, it's like planting a seed. So I get to tell myself every single morning how great I am, how wonderful I am, how how kind I am, and how powerful I am, because those are the only thing that I truly believe that I can plant. And because there will be time where people will tell you things that you're not, and they wanted you to believe that. And the only thing that can save you is the thing you told yourself 5 years ago that have been planted within you. So I feel like for me, it's all about affirmations, what I tell myself, who I tell myself I am. Because the world wants you to see yourself the way they want you to see it, not the way you should be able to see yourself as God wanted you to see it.
All of those things all of those affirmations are internal characteristics that have external actions that come with them. But one of the characteristics that is innately a part of you, which is different from a lot of the people around you, is the fact that your skin color is black. And you've talked about how you see your color as being a privilege and a strength to you. Why do you feel why do you feel that way? How do you feel that has influenced you and the things that you have done and attempted to do in your life?
Because I feel like my color makes me work harder, My color makes me love myself harder and more. My color makes me getting to know myself more, because I need to see it differently in order for me to survive in this world. If I see it the way I'm hearing from the other people, then I won't be able to survive. So the best way for me to survive in this world, I need to learn about who I am, my color, to work harder to get to know my color, the beauty of it, the reason why I have that. And I feel like my color, yes, it's my greatest blessing, because I've been through so much because of my color, who helps me understand who I really am.
Wow. That's such a beautiful sentiment. I love the way that I love the perspective you have on so many of these things that we've talked about. And I know that this past year there's been so much racial tension, and I love that your sentiment is that the color of your skin is a strength. But there have been so many hard things to watch other people go through. And I'm wondering if you've experienced some of those things here in Utah. Have you experienced racial, that we see lots of things about the police, and we see lots of really sad stories. And I'm wondering if things like that have happened to you here in Utah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I truly believe that I'm not talking about all black, but the one that I know.
Yeah.
All of the one that I know, they've been through things,
Yeah.
Because the racism they're talking about, it's not that people are racist. It's not that people are racist, like racist. It's that people because my life has been saved by white people. When I came here, my bishop was white. People who let me come in, they were white.
Yeah.
But at the same times, we gotta know that there are things that we need to work on, and like, it's sad to say that, but racism most of the time came from people around you, your family members, your in-laws, your in-laws, your close people.
Yeah.
Because you get to be around them more than other people. You know what I mean? And And it's sad because you have to keep proving yourself nonstop. As a black people, you have to work harder. You have to work harder to even earn this little basic respect that they're giving to everybody without working for. But you have to work so hard for this basic respect.
Because of your skin color.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Guys, I always worry. Like, for example, if my wife has like a mark on her skin, I'm like so like trouble because I don't want maybe her parents might say, "Hey, did your husband beat you?" Or maybe her friend might say, "Hey, what happened?" Like even my kids, if my kids fall in the house and they got hurt, I'm like, wow, I'm troubled because I'm like, I don't want people to think that I'm beating my kids because they know that her husband's black and their dad's black. Like, I don't, because most people, the first thing they see, they think black or abuse people, black or. But I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm a good father. I'm a wonderful father. I'm not saying that in a prideful way. I'm saying that in a humble way because I would die for this family of mine. I will do anything it takes for my family, my kids, my wife. Those people are above, beyond love. Like I'm, because of my skin color, I have to like trouble for every little thing because you keep proving yourself and you feel like no matter what you do, you still have to do more for some people to really feel like wow. And yeah, it's sad, but there are things you will never be able to change, and there are people you will never be able to fix their thing. At the end of the day, the only thing you can really do is to love your family, like your little corner, your wife, your kids, this little corner. Because like fighting with people to treat you better, some of them will never treat you better. Why? Because they will never understand you, and they will always think that he's been playing the victim game or he's been playing the race game. I'm not. And we are not. We are just wanted you to hear us. Hear that something's going on with me. Can you just hear me? That's what we are trying to do. And I truly, because I'm gonna be honest, white people started that race thing. They started treating us this way, and we wanted to treat differently because we've seen how people treat people, and I gotta be treated differently. Like when you say, for example, I admire the officers, the police, because those are some of my heroes. I work with them, but there are times where I've been in situation. One of them was, I remember I was in a park supporting my little brother. And by the way, I'm not sharing any of this experience just to bring drama, just to show you how much of a difference this makes when you're white people.
Yes, I think it's important. So yes, please continue. I think it's important to hear your perspective.
I had a little brother. He's in school here in Utah. He's in high school. He's in tracks. I always there to support him. And we as black people, when we're supporting people, we yell a little bit just to say, keep going, like you're making some voice, because you feel like I'm on the field, it's me. And I remember I was just like cheering for my little brother. And because I was cheering for my little brother, this lady maybe called cops. Maybe, I don't know how she did that. She just escaped a little bit and she make a call. And the cops came and said, this lady say you have a gun on you. And then, but the thing is, I always tell my wife, my beautiful white wife, and by the way, if any black queen are listening to me, I know you're queen and your blood is speaking not because you're not white. I'm just sharing why married a white people saved me so many times. And all my queens, all my black sisters who are listening, I admire you. You're the queen of the kingdom. So I was there, and I always say something to my wife. If I share my location with you, that means I'm dealing with cops.
Oh, wow.
And the moment the cops is coming, I took my phone, I share my location, beam to my wife. And then a few minutes later, she came to that spot. And while I was dealing with the cops, he said, yeah, the lady said you have a gun on you. Let me check on you. 21. Put yourself on the car. And then my wife said, he's my husband. He's my husband. Hey, hey, hey. And then the cops say, no, we ain't doing anything. I was just want to make sure that if he has anything we can help him with. I said, no, that's not it. You asked me if I have a gun on me. And now you tell my wife, you ask me how you can help me. That's not the conversation before my wife came here. And just to show you how much of the difference. Like, I've seen how cop was treating black people while I was driving with my wife. And I said, honey, can you please go over there and talk to the cops? Because once they see you, things will change.
Right.
And they see my wife, they saw her, and things really changed. Just to share with you that I understand there are great people on both sides. There are like negative people on both sides.
Right.
But for me personally, I've been through things that I shouldn't have to fight for equality, even inside of family. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to fight because you're the only black son-in-law that you're fighting for equality in family. You shouldn't have to fight for those things. And by the way, I'm on a podcast, which I'm fine. Anything I say, I stand behind it, you know? And you shouldn't have to fight for your color when you know that your kids will be people's great kids.
Yeah.
Because what I'm fighting for, it's not for me. It's that I don't want my kids to go through that. Like, because personally, guys, I could have dealt with so many things, but the fact that I'm raising children, half black children, those are the one I'm fighting for. Those are the one I'm speaking for.
Right.
Because it should be a time where your kids can just look at my kids for who they are, not for the color of their skin. And if we don't start having this conversation right now, how can your kids will remember the great things you taught them about people of color?
Yeah.
We need to talk about the elephant, because there's an elephant in every room. And this last year hasn't been easy. And I feel like a lot of family could be stronger if they were able to listen to each other instead of thinking it's a race game, because it's not a race game.
Yeah.
I've been in the US for 6 years. I'd never get a ticket, you know? And even though I never get a ticket, but I know why I never get a ticket. It's not because I don't drive bad, but because I'm always the one who say sorry way before they stop me, even I wasn't driving fast. And I always the one I always put my wallet out way on the dashboard before they even ask me to. I always pull over when I see them behind me so I can let them go, so I don't have to deal with them in my mind. I always try to be careful. That's why.
Yeah.
Not because I was better than other black people. I feel like, and at the end, like I said, it's really something that we can fix. We can go above that, because we can. I truly believe we can. I truly believe that we all are great people. We are great people. We are good people. And we can do better because we are good people.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think what you said is so important, that when you said just hear us, I feel like that is the key, is if we can listen, that's when things will begin to change. If we can, as white people, not be defensive and just listen, I think that is really a big key. And so we are both so grateful that you were willing to come on to this podcast and tell us your experience, because there have been many hard things, and yet you're willing to share those things with us and share your perspective with us. And I think that that's so valuable. So thank you very much. And at the end of every interview, we like to ask a question. Our organization is called Operation Amigos. Amigos means friends in Spanish. And so, Williamson, as a Haitian, as a black man, as an immigrant, what would you say is one thing people can do to be a better amigo to you and to others who are like you?
The one thing I would say is to be the difference, because a lot of them, they want to make a difference. They really want to make a difference, But before we make a difference, we gotta be the difference. I will say everyone to be the difference.
That's a great thought. That is a great thought because as you were talking about, stereotypes sometimes rule. And if the difference can be, don't believe that stereotype. Give someone the benefit of the doubt. Be a friend before you suspect people. I think that can make a really big difference. And each of us can be the difference. So, Williamson, thank you so much for telling us your story. Thank you for being here. Thank you for marrying a white woman and having 3 beautiful children, and for being part of our community here in Utah. I am very...
My greatest gift. She's my greatest gift. You know, she's the love of my life and the life of my love. I mean it, and I have this care in my heart. It's so deep. And yeah, love my wife.
Yeah.
Williamson, if people want to follow your story, where can they see what you're up to now and what you have coming in the future?
Well, by the way, I wanna thank Megan. She's a ghostwriter. She's the one writing my book together with me called Rising from the Rubble. Coming this fall, the beginning of the fall or the middle of the fall, and we're still working hard to see how we can finish that pretty soon. But yeah, I will say people just follow the cause. AriseProjectForHumanity.com. Arise Project for Humanity. That's the name of my organization. And of course, keep your eyes on Amazon for the book Rising from the Rubble. And as I just said, Megan is the one who's helping me to write this book. So I'm super excited. That's the way you can keep in touch.
It's going to be an amazing, powerful book that will help lots of people.
Definitely.
Williamson, thank you again for sharing your story. Thank you for all the hard work that you're putting in. Thank you for being that difference that you encourage others to be. It's been great.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you. Your family is so precious, and thanks for all you guys do. You're not just doing a podcast, you're just changing lives, because some of the question you asked me why here, I will never share it to anybody, because who do I know? Who do I have to share it with? Because sometimes you feel like, wow, no one will ever, not that they're not, you just feel that because they haven't been there. And I'm so grateful that you guys were so inspired to have me on and ask me some of these questions. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're thrilled. Thank you very much. And give your wife and your kids a hug for us. And one day when COVID is over, we would love to meet you in person and hug you all.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Operation Amigos podcast. We will see you next time.